Did you know that the Eiffel Tower can be 15 centimeters taller in the summer? That's because when it gets hot, the metal expands. Wild facts that make you sound like a genius. Your brain is literally snacking on itself 24/7. It's called phagocytosis, where brain cells play Pac-Man, gobbling up smaller cells and molecules to keep things tidy up there. But no need to panic. This brain buffet is totally normal and actually keeps your mind in tip-top shape. Animals have their own personal time zones. For smaller creatures like salamanders and lizards, the world moves in slow motion compared to us humans. To them, it's like living in a permanent action replay. Meanwhile, your dog or cat is cruising at a pace closer to ours. It all comes down to how fast their brains process info. So while you're swatting a fly, that fly's basically dodging in the Matrix. Turns out, wearing a tie is not just a fashion choice. It's a brain squeeze. A 2018 study showed that rocking a necktie can cut blood flow to your brain by 7.5%, which might leave you feeling dizzy, queasy, or with a pounding headache. And if that's not enough, a tight tie can also turn up the pressure in your eyeballs. Who knew a tie could have you looking sharp and feeling lightheaded at the same time? Meet Cream Puff, the ultimate cat legend who lived a whopping 38 years and 3 days. That's basically 9 lives times 4. While most cats are lounging around for a decade or two, Cream Puff was out here collecting senior discounts and probably had more birthdays than most humans. She's basically the Betty White of cats. Comets have a pretty unpleasant smell, like a mix of rotten eggs, urine, burnt matches, and almonds. This is thanks to chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and hydrogen cyanide. In 2016, they even made postcards scented like a comet. Definitely not something you'd want to sniff. Chainsaws were actually invented for childbirth. Yep. Back in the 18th century, Scottish doctors used them for a procedure to make childbirth easier by cutting through bone. It wasn't until the 1900s that someone finally thought, hey, this might be better for chopping wood instead. Definitely not the origin story you'd expect. Surprisingly, hippos can't swim. Their bones are so big and dense that they barely float. Instead of swimming, they do a slow-motion gallop along the riverbed or seafloor. And get this, hippos can even snooze underwater. They have a neat reflex that lets them surface for a breath and sink back down without waking up. Talk about a unique way to catch some Z's. Your nails grow faster in the summer heat. This might be because the warmer weather boosts blood flow to your fingertips. Plus, with the relaxing vibes of vacation, you're less likely to stress and chew on those nails. So, as the sun shines, your nails are thriving. Believe it or not, being bored actually cranks up your heart rate. It's what scientists call a high arousal state. So while you're staring at the wall, your body's low-key, revving its engine. Who knew boredom could be so intense? You might not like the sound of your own voice, and it turns out that's due to the bones in your head. They actually make your voice sound deeper than it is when you hear it through your own ears. So, when you hear yourself recorded and think, is that me? Just remember, your skull is messing with your personal sound system. Some animals show traits similar to autism. These critters might engage in repetitive behaviors and have unique social habits that set them apart. It's a fascinating reminder that the animal kingdom has its own quirks and personalities just like us. Ever notice how you remember more dreams when you sleep poorly? That's because if you toss and turn all night, waking up frequently, you're more likely to recall those wild dream adventures. Plus, if you're jolted awake right in the middle of a dream, it's like your brain hit the record button. Suddenly, you're the star of your own dream recap. Did you know you can see stars as they were 4,000 years ago with just your eyes? That's right. All the stars we can spot without a telescope are within about 4,000 light years of us. So, every time you look up at the night sky, you're basically peeking back in time to when the pyramids were going up in Egypt. Talk about a cosmic time machine.